Hi, my name's Karen Jacobs and I teach theatrical makeup here at Cal State Dominguez Hills. And I'm making this tutorial video for my students or anyone else who's interested. And I'm going to teach you how to do a basic corrective makeup for the stage using the Nye Creme makeup kit. Now the first thing you have to know is these come in 7 different skin tones. So make sure when you're buying your kit that you get the one that matches your skin tone the best. The Nye company sent me this, which is actually really helpful. You can get online and find this chart as well. So it goes all the way from light to medium to darker skin tones. So hopefully somewhere on this palette you will find your perfect match. Each of the kits do come with 3 different foundation colors. So that's really helpful. So when you get your kit, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna look at your 3 foundation colors and you're gonna pick which one is the best match for your skin tone, okay? I'm gonna go through the other things that are in the kit real quick. And then we have our lovely actress, Vanessa, who's gonna show you how to put it all on your face, all right? So like I said, there's 3 different colors of foundation. You're gonna pick the one that matches your skin tone the best. Once you pick the one that you like, put the other ones away and mark the bottom of this one with a little dot or a little X or something so that you know which one matches your skin tone the best. The next thing is your highlight and your shadow. This is going to be key in adding dimension to your face. So what happens is the stage lights are going to wash you out and are going to flatten your face. We are going to put the dimension back in your face. Highlight is everything that moves forward in space. Shadow or contour is everything that moves or recedes backwards on your face. So we're going to go ahead and put that dimension back in your face so that when you're on stage you look natural, but you also have a little bit of corrective makeup to make your features stand out. This is blush, and this is a blush brush. This is the only powder that comes in your kit, and we'll show you how to use that in a minute. These are 2 contour wheels, and you're going to see that Vanessa uses the Bruises and Abrasions contour wheel to use the red for lipstick when we get to the Glamour. And then this contour wheel has a color in it that's really nice natural lip color, and that's what you're going to put on your lips to make it look like you have a natural lip with no lipstick on. All right, you get Q-tips in your kit. You're going to use these for all kinds of applications. If you don't have a lip brush, if you don't have a powder brush for your eyeshadow, you can use your Q-tips. You might want to get some extras of these because you're going to go through them pretty quickly. You have a nice big powder puff, and it comes in a little plastic cover. I like to keep mine in the plastic cover so that it doesn't get powder all over my kit when I put it back together. And then you have your translucent face powder. Again, all of these colors are going to be slightly different depending on which kit you get and which skin tone, okay? So here's your powder and your powder puff. You have 2 cream brushes. One's a little smaller and one's a little bigger. This one I always use for the darker colors or the shadows, and this one I also always use for the highlights or the lighter colors. You've got a couple of pencils. We're going to use the brown and the black. They can be used for eyeliner, they can be used for eyebrows, they can be used for little beauty marks, they can be used for whatever you need. And then there's a couple of things that don't come in the kit that I like to have my students get because they're really helpful, and you can buy all of this for really not very much money at Target or some drugstore. There's a powder brush. What happens with your eyelids, if you put cream makeup on your eyelids, it's going to crease because you're constantly opening and closing your eyes on stage. So what I encourage them to get is powder eyeshadow in these 3 colors, and we'll teach you how to put these on in a minute. It's a highlight, a neutral, and a darker contour. This is only a couple of bucks at Target, and I highly recommend you get this and add it to your kit because the powder will not smudge or crease on your eyelid. And to use this, you're going to need a powder brush. Okay, you can always use your Q-tip, but this powder brush is a lot easier to use. Mascara does not come in your kit, so you're going to need to get a mascara, black. You don't have to get the most expensive one. It can just be a couple bucks. This is a foundation brush. It's not necessary because most of the time you'll be putting your foundation on with your wedge sponge, but some people like to use the foundation brush. It's a little easier. And then the last thing is some colorful eyeshadows. So at the end of our tutorial, we're going to have Vanessa pump up the color on her face and make her look like a kind of a cabaret showgirl, and we want to add a lot of color to her eyeshadow story. So what I encourage you to get is a couple of these kits that have all of the colors right there together in them, or if you want, you can get one of the bigger kits that has multiple colors of eyeshadow, and then you have lots of choices. All right, so next we're going to move on to the application. All right, so here's Vanessa, and she's gonna put on her makeup step by step as I go through the basic corrective makeup tutorial with the Nye Creme makeup kit. So the first thing you always wanna do when you're doing makeup is to wash your face and hands. So have you done that already?
Yes.
All right, and she's pulled her hair back with a headband so that keeps it out of her face while she's doing her makeup. All right. One thing, if you have dry skin, you might want to put some moisturizer on your face about 15 minutes before you put your foundation on. So that's only if you have dry skin and you want to give the moisturizer a minute or two to soak into your skin. So the next thing you're going to do is start with your foundation. So she has her foundation color that she's already chosen, and she's going to put that on with a wedge sponge. So go ahead and start putting on your foundation all around your face. She's going to do it in short, kind of blotting motion. She's going to cover her entire face, anywhere that she has skin. It's going to go all over her eyelid, but not her eyebrow. And you don't want a line around your face. So you don't want it to look like a mask. So what she's going to do about a ½ an inch south of her cheekbone is just blend it right beyond the jawline. Get a nice thick coverage. It's going to be a little bit thicker than you're used to because theatrical makeup has to be dense and put on pretty heavily so that it stays on during your performance and so that it can be seen from far away. Get it right up to the hairline without creating a line. Just kind of blend it nicely into your hairline. All right, good. And just show them about a ½ an inch below your jawline is where you ended. And you're not going to take it down all the way to the neck because it will get on the costume. Your costume designer will be very unhappy. All right, perfect. All right, so now we're going to start adding some dimension back into the face because as we know, when you're on stage, the lights will wash you out and will flatten your features. So we're going to start adding some highlight and shadow back into the face to give it dimension and make it look natural. It's going to look very unnatural when we put it on, but then from 20, 30, 40 feet back in the audience, it's going to kind of fool your eye and make it look like it's a very natural face again. First thing we're going to start with is the shadow. Okay, and you're going to use your smaller of your two cream brushes. So this is your smaller cream brush, and she's going to take a little bit of the shadow, and the first part she's going to do is her nose. So the sides of the nose recede in space. So she's going to fill in the sides of her nose with a character shadow. It's like a big triangle that she's going to draw in on both sides of her nose. And what that's going to do is it's going to make it look like her nose is going backward in space on the sides of her nose, which is what a nose naturally does if you don't have lights flattening it out. As you're doing this, try to make both sides the same. Try to work on your symmetry as much as possible. All right, and then you're going to go below your cheekbones and shadow in the sunken parts of your cheek. So first of all, show them where your cheekbone is, right there. So right below your cheekbone, you can probably feel right where it kind of drops off a cliff there, yeah? You're going to draw a line south of your cheekbone. And then fill that in all the way down to where your jawbone starts. This is going to not only make this part of your face look like it's going backwards in space, but it's also really going to pump up the highlight that you put on your cheekbone. And what she's doing right now is just laying in these colors. We're going to blend them later, so don't worry about it looking very graphic right now. By the way, as we're doing this, the rest of the class is drawing on their blank face diagram. So everyone over here on the left of the room, can you show the camera real quick what you guys are doing? Nice, thank you. All right, and then we got to do the temples. So the way that you find your temples is you go to the sides of your eyes and feel for the little indentations. It's called your temporal fossa, and your skull has little indentions, usually right to the sides of your eyes and slightly above. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a little half moon right along where your temples are, just to give that part of your face some dimension. All right, that's it for shadow. So now we're going to switch to highlight. So we're going to go to our larger of the two cream brushes that come with your kit and your highlight. Now, depending on your skin tone, your highlight might go anywhere from a really, really bright cream, almost a white color, to more of a yellowy tone, okay? So hers is sort of in between, right in the middle there. She's gonna take her highlight and she's gonna start with the bridge of her nose. Right down the top of her nose. It's gonna sound a little corny, but think of your nose like a mountain. There's snow on the top of the mountain and dirt down the sides. And what that does is it gives a nice definition and brings the bridge of your nose forward and the sides of your nose backward in space. All right, then you're gonna go under your eyes with a little triangular shape. Some people naturally have discoloration under their eyes because of the way that your eyes are set in your eye sockets. You naturally have a little bit of darkness underneath your eyes. So this is meant to get rid of any of that. And don't worry, we're going to blend this later. All right, and now we're going to do a nice thick line right along the cheekbone. So right above where she also already shadowed, it's going to go straight up to the hairline, nice and thick. All right, then the last thing is, if you have any blemishes on your face, like a little redness or anything that you want to cover up, you can go ahead and dot the highlighter on little freckle, little mole, any little blemish that you'd like to just sort of downplay. You can put this highlight on that area as well. All right, so now we're going to stop and we're going to blend. We're going to use two sponges for blending, one for the shadow and one for the highlight. So the first thing Vanessa's going to do is go all around the edges of her shadowing and lightly dab the makeup. You're not wiping it off. You're just blending the edges so that you don't have that really graphic look. You want to leave the makeup there, and it's going to look a little heavy since you're only about a foot away from your face in the makeup. But at the very end, what she's going to do is stand up and stand back about 10 feet, and you're going to see how much this sort of disappears as you go backwards in space. And make sure you're not wiping it, you're just dabbing it. You don't want to get rid of all that work that you just did. All right, now she's going to take a different sponge so we don't muddy up the colors, and she's going to blend all of her highlights. Being especially careful on those areas where the highlight and the shadow are coming together, to just dab very lightly so as not to muddy up the colors. And you don't want them to disappear. You still want to see the highlight and the shadow separately. You just want them to be slightly blended around the edges. Nice. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to rouge for the cheeks. So you have a powder rouge in your kit and a powder brush. This is the only time you're going to use the powder brushes with the powder rouge. So we have to find the apples of the cheeks. So if you smile real big in the mirror and look at those nice puffy cheek balls right there on the balls of your cheek. That's called the apples of your cheeks. So she's gonna start there, and in a circular motion, she's gonna do a nice circular pattern for the rouge, going slightly up the highlight of the cheekbone, fading out toward the ear. Now don't be afraid to do it kind of heavy. This is what's really gonna bring life to your face when you're on stage. Of course, all of this makeup is gonna be heavy if you're in a big house with a large audience that's really far away. And it's gonna be done a lot lighter if you're in a black box or a smaller theater where the audience is really close to you. So you can gauge the amount of makeup that you put on based on the size of the house. All right, good. So now we're gonna start working on the eyes, and the first thing we're gonna do is eyeliner. So get your brown eyeliner pencil out of your kit, and make sure you don't use the black. The brown and the black sometimes are pretty close in color. And we're going to line the eyes. So the easiest way to do that is to slightly pull your eye to the side so that the skin on the eyelid is taut, so that it's not wrinkly when you try to draw on your eye. And you're going to line the eye all the way across with a nice thin line. Make sure you can see it. Don't make it so thin that you can't see it. But remember, it's supposed to look natural. It's not supposed to look like you're wearing big, thick eyeliner. Not yet, not till we get to Glamour. And then one thin line on the bottom, not on your waterline, so not inside your eye, but right below your small eyelashes on the bottom. Good. All right, next is mascara. So as I said before, the mascara does not come in your kit, so you need to buy one. You don't need to buy the most expensive one, just black mascara. You can get pretty inexpensively, but you are gonna wanna put it on pretty thick. Now there might be some instances where you will be wearing fake eyelashes, and in that case you do not need to wear mascara if you're putting a fake eyelash on your eye. But for the basic corrective, just a nice thick coating of mascara, and then just a little tiny bit on your bottom lashes. You don't want it to look too like tarantula eyes for the basic corrective. She's just supposed to look like the everyday girl next door ingenue type of role. All right, now the next is eyebrows. Now Vanessa has really nice dark shapely eyebrows, so she probably wouldn't have much to do to her eyebrows, but if she did need to fill in her eyebrows, she's going to show you the short little hash marks that you can make to make your eyebrows look realistic. So she would just do those little tiny dashes of color with the eyebrow pencil all the way across. If you have light eyebrows, you definitely need to fill them in, because from a distance they will disappear, or if you want to reshape your eyebrow into a slightly different shape than you naturally have. Little short choppy lines like that so that it looks like individual little eyebrow hairs. All right. Next we're going to work on eyeshadow. Like I said before, you don't want to put cream colors on your eyelids because your eyes open and close during a show and it will crease your cream color on your eyes. So what I've asked the students to get is this neutral pack of 3 colors in powder. One a light highlight, one a neutral tone, and one a darker shadow. So I'm going to show you where to put these 3 tones on your eyelid. Another thing that the kit doesn't have is a powder brush. So Vanessa's got a powder brush to make this a lot easier. If you don't have a powder brush, you can always use a Q-tip. That's an easy solution. All right, so the first thing she's going to do is take the neutral tone, the middle tone, and cover her entire eyelid with it, except for the area that she's going to highlight, which is right at the brow bone. And remember, you can go heavy with this. This is heavier than street makeup. Needs to be seen from far away. Okay, now we're going to continue with eyeshadow. So like I said before, the cream colors crease on your eyelid because you're always opening and closing your eyes on stage. So what Vanessa's putting on her eyes now is a powder eyeshadow. And I asked my students to get this little kit that has 3 neutral tones in it. It's got a highlight, a neutral, and then a darker contour shadow. So right now she's taking the middle one, the neutral color, and she's covering her entire eyelid with it except for the part that she's going to put the highlight right on her brow bone. So that's your first step, kind of creating a canvas on your eyelid. And then we're gonna clean the brush off a little bit. You can either do that with a tissue or with this little brush cleaner that she has. And then we're going to put the highlight right on the brow bone, right underneath your eyebrow. This is what catches the light. This is what gets the audience looking at your face, which is where you want them to be looking when you're acting. The eyes are the windows to the soul. So if you really want to take your audience on a journey with your storytelling, you got to get them to look at your eyes. Then we're going to put highlight on one more place. When you close your eyelid, you're going to put a dot of highlight right on the middle of your eyelid, right above your eyelashes, right there. Just one nice thick dot of highlight. And that also draws attention right there to your eye. All right. And then the last thing we're going to do is take that darker shadow or contour color and make a crease right in the middle of your eye. And you can do this kind of heavy-handed because you really want to give dimension to your eye, and the push and pull between the highlight and the contour is what's going to give that dimension to your eyelid. And remember, it's heavier than normal street makeup, so don't be afraid to lay it on a little thick right here. And you can already see the dimension kind of coming back into her eyes. All right, good. Now what we're going to do is powder. So the powder puff I showed you before that you keep in your little plastic sheath, hers is well used, you can see. She's going to sprinkle a little bit of powder all over the powder puff. And then she's going to mix it by blotting it together, make a taco. Kind of pound it together just to spread that powder all over. And then you're going to roll it on your face. So rolling is going to set your makeup and it's not going to disturb it. So very lightly, she's rolling the powder over her face as not to wipe the makeup off or disrupt it. Powder does 2 things. Powder sets the makeup and it also gets rid of the shine. It creates a matte finish. If you sweat on stage a lot, you can always powder at intermission or when you're off stage to get rid of any shininess. And the rolling pattern is the best way to do that. Now, if you want to get into the nooks and crannies, you can fold it in half and take that little edge and get right in there under your eyes. You don't have to powder your eyelids because they basically already have powder on them. All right, that looks great. Then the last thing we're going to do is lips. So in your cream contour wheel, you have a color on the back of the wheel. It should say something like natural lip color. It's kind of a dusty mauve to a light cinnamon color, depending on your kit number. So we're going to use either a lip pencil or a Q-tip. If you have a lip brush. Vanessa happens to have a lip brush, so she's going to show you that. But if you don't, you can use the Q-tips that are in your kit, and you're just going to put a light coating of the lip color all around your lip. It's not supposed to look like you're wearing lipstick. It's just supposed to look like a natural kind of pinky lip. And yes, guys, you need to wear this too. If it looks like you're wearing lipstick, you've put on a little bit too much. So what guys can do, if you don't want it to look too lipsticky, is that you can mix it with chapstick. So put on some chapstick first, and then put the color over it, and then blend it with a little more chapstick. Okay, girls can do that too if you find that the color is just a little darker than you want it to. All right, so that is our basic corrective makeup. Vanessa's gonna stand up and stand back a couple of feet so that we can see what it looks like from a distance. And I call this giving yourself the gift of distance. So she's about 10 feet from the mirror, and then the mirror adds about another 10 feet on the other side of it. So this is what the audience would see from about 20 feet away. And what we want her to look like is just like a natural, fresh-faced girl, not younger than she is, not older than she is, not any kind of character, just Vanessa's face stage ready. I think she looks pretty good. All right, so now she's gonna come back and we are gonna pump this up a little bit and we are going to add some glamour. So now to make her look like she is a little more glamorous or playing a character that needs more glamour makeup, like let's say for example, she's a showgirl in Cabaret, we are going to do a couple of things just to add a lot more drama and color to her face. So the first thing is rouge. She's gonna put on a much more dramatic rouge. So she's gonna take that same powder and she's gonna go over the apples of her cheeks and up the sides of her cheekbones, but she's gonna lay it on real thick. Now it's gonna look very heavy, like it's almost too much since she's only 1.5 feet away from the mirror. But on stage, it'll look like a showgirl. Okay. Next is the eyes. We're really gonna pump up the eyes and make it almost a smoky eye. So we're gonna take a black eyeliner this time, not the brown, but a black, so it's much more dramatic. And you're gonna do a nice thick line all the way around the eye, much thicker than you would normally wear for street makeup. And she can even do a little bit of a wing at the end, just to dramatize that eye a little bit more. Okay. Next thing we're gonna do is play with some color on the shadow. So we're gonna take the same idea of the 3 tones, but we're gonna use some fun purple colors. So this kit here has a white for the highlight, 2 purple tones, and then a kind of a smoky gray. So first thing we're gonna do is take the lighter of the 2 purple tones and we're gonna use it all over the eye. And if you have thin lips, you can even go beyond your lip line. If you wanna do a real dramatic kind of Cupid's bow at the top of the lip, if you're doing maybe a 1920s or 30s look, you can get real dramatic with your lip line. All right. And then the last thing that is optional is a beauty mark. So if you have a natural freckle or beauty mark already on your face, you can just take your black pencil and enhance it, or you can just make one up. It's kind of more of a 1920s look. If you're a showgirl in Cabaret, you always have a nice beauty mark. There you go. All right, now stand up about 5 feet back if you don't mind, and let's look at our glamour look. Nice, and with a costume and wig, she'd be ready to be a showgirl in Cabaret. Thank you.